I'm David, and I just want to clarify that I'm not gonna talk about unit testing, as written here. My talk is all about Kotlin and converting from Java to Kotlin. So I have no slides. This will be 100% live coding, and so I hope nothing will break with the live coding. We'll be converting this app to Kotlin. Right now it's in Java, and all this app does is that it shows some information about the speaker. So we'll be working with this app, converting to Kotlin, and not just any Kotlin, but really nice Kotlin. So this talk is more introductory for new people coming to Kotlin, but at the end I will also show some really nice tricks how to make it really nice Kotlin and handle the nullability in a nice way. So my name is David. I'm a founder of my own company. We are working on an app called Saddle Up. You can find this app in the Play Store and App Store. It's an app for group expenses. When you travel with people, you enter who paid for what, and it calculates who owes who. And this app is 100% Kotlin. So we started working with Kotlin even before it was official language for Android. I think Kotlin is really mature. And if you are not using Kotlin today, you should really give it a try. I can share some experience. We are 100% Kotlin and no issues. So I'll ask you, who uses Kotlin now? Raise your hand. Great, so like less than a half, great. So I hope I will persuade the other half to at least try it. So all the code I will be showing today is available on my GitHub here, and it's like a code lab. So there are instructions step by step how to convert the Java code into Kotlin. So you don't have to write it down right now. You can later see the code yourself and try everything what I do here today. You can try it at home. Yeah. So let's get into it. Yeah. So this talk is inspired by a blog post I wrote about handling nullability on Kotlin. If you are interested more deeply about that, go to my Medium, and the blog post is very popular. Okay, so let's see the code that we will be converting today to Kotlin. So this is normal Android Studio Android app with Java. So it uses this model class which has data which will be shown in the app. This model, it has name, titles with the medium. You can see this this ugly Java code with a lot of like auto-generated stuff. So it has just two classes, this model and main activity, which is showing the model. So I'm just, it's simplified app, I'm just emulating some stuff which is happening. So here are some views from the layout, as normal. In our company we have a naming convention that all the views start with V. So it's easier to find them. It's just our naming convention. You don't need to use it. It's just like what we do. I found it easy with the auto-completion. So these are some views. This is the model, like with the data. The model is loaded here. Here are simulate like normally. I would do it in a presenter in like different class. Here it's simplified, so it's loaded in the activity. The low data here, we create the model just with like dummy data. Usually I would load this from like a network or database. Then there is this method show data, which is showing the data, so it's just binding the data from the model to the views. there's one more thing with the GitHub URL. I'm simulating that maybe this GitHub URL is downloaded later from the network, and it's then shown with this update button text method. So it's quite simple app, and now let's start converting this app into Kotlin. So first thing you need to do when you convert your app to Kotlin, the Android Studio can really help you with this. So you select this configure Kotlin in project. You select Android with Gradle. Now we just synchronize Gradle, and that should be it. Oh. Okay, it might be because of the connection. Yeah, this always happens during the demos, right? I will create my own connection. Yeah, it's working. So great. I will show you what changed. This Android Studio, it just changed this to two Gradle files. So it added a Kotlin version here, and and this line, which is Kotlin, and it also changed the app module. It added dependency for the Kotlin standard library. Let's do it again, because I think there is a wrong version of Kotlin here. So at least you can see how I debug this problem. I will just revert. Great. Now it shows more latest version of Kotlin, so it should work. Now it's the latest version of Kotlin. Everything should work. So let's try. Let's go on with converting some classes to Kotlin. So first, I will convert this model class. Android Studio can help you again. is this action convert Java file to Kotlin file. And that's it. That's it. Now our class is in Kotlin. It has similar syntax like Java. It's just you have these vals with, and bars. So now variables can be either read-only or you can also write to them. So it's converted to val, which is like value. So it's read-only. This is still pretty like from Java. This method's quite ugly. We will get rid of them later. But right now, let's just. I would like to show you that when I run this up, it should all work. So one of the class is in Kotlin, the other class is in Java. I haven't converted the main activity. Main activity is still in Java. So hopefully this will build, and it will still work. So this is really important. You don't need to convert everything to Kotlin. You can convert just one class, or you can create just one screen in Kotlin or one feature. You don't need to migrate everything. Yeah, so the up run, it works. It's completely the same. One class Kotlin, one class Java. So now let's make this class a little bit nicer. I don't like these auto-generated methods. So Kotlin has this feature called data classes, which all this do this for you. So if I make this class data class, I can delete all of this. So what I usually do with data classes, I indent it like this, so it's nicer. Also, Android Studio's saying that this is unnecessary. I can delete it. So you see, we simplified the class to just this. And now let me explain a little bit about nullability for people who don't know. So, so this question mark here means that the type is nullable. So that means it can be null. And I can say that then some of the variables will never be null. So for example, the name will never be null. I know that from database it will never be null. But these other things are optional, so maybe they could be null. So I will leave the question mark. That means they could be null. And Kotlin is great that it makes you think about nullability, what can be null and what cannot be null, and this way you can really avoid null pointer exceptions, which are the most common exception in Java. So you can still do null pointer exceptions, but you have to specifically say, okay, I'm aware of that it will run null pointer exception, and it will make you think about it. So now let's convert the main activity. So you see it's still in Java. Let's convert it. Magic happening. Hey, and we have a Kotlin class. So it's pretty similar as Java. Some differences, maybe when you inherit, you are using this character for inheriting from upcom class activity. You see these are variables, so they are var, they could change. All functions in Kotlin are fun. So it starts with fun. So yeah, but you see, the code is not really nice. It's still Java looking. And Kotlin added these double exclamation marks everywhere. And that means on all these places, it can crash on null pointer exception. Like I could run this code, it will work, but there is a possibility for crashing for null pointer exception. and we will fix that. Usually you don't want any of these. That means there is a possible bug in your application. So you should try to remove them. And I will show you some strategies how to remove them nicely in a Kotlin way. So first, let's start with these variables. We don't want them. So Kotlin has this nice plugin. It's called Kotlin Android Extensions. So now it should work. That I could remove all of this stuff which is related to the view, and Kotlin should generate these variables for me. So let's remove them. Now it's all red, but I should be able to import this, and Kotlin has generated this for me. Yeah, I don't need, it does the find view by ID for you, so I can delete this as well. And yeah, it's no longer red. I can use this, and now this is no longer nullable, so I can remove all of these double exclamation marks with the V. So let's go through. This also should work. You see the code completion works. So we can delete this. Okay, so we got rid of some double exclamation marks in an easy way, and the class is shorter. So let's remove more. So this model here, this model is loaded in the onCreate. So we know it will be always loaded in onCreate. It's obvious from the code. So Kotlin, for this purpose, if you load something in onCreate, there is a feature called late init. So I can mark it as late init and non-nullable. So there is no exclamation mark, question mark. And this means I'm saying that this will be loaded in when the class is initiated, and nullability should be okay. Like if you don't load it in onCreate and you load it somewhere else and try to access it before it's loaded, it will crash to something like null pointer exception. So like you should be careful about this. But it's really a nice way when you are loading something in onCreate. So now we can get rid of all of these, and Android Studio understands that it's late in it, and it actually tells me like remove unnecessary. Yeah, that's it. So we got rid of even more. Okay, so do another tip. So now we would like to get rid of this, because you see here we already check that this is not now. We already checked that this is not now. But if I remove this, it will give me error. This error that like smartcast is impossible, and this is why, because this M model it's a var. It can change. So in theory, it could have changed, like from some other thread or something, like between the null check and when I use it, and I don't like that. So for these purposes, I use a let function. So I will show you how it works. So here what I did, I used this this operator question mark, and question mark is like no check. The right part is run only if it's not now. So this will run only when it's not now, and the let function makes it nice that in the lambda I can now use it, which will be the non-null value. So I can replace this with it. And this way we got rid of the double exclamation mark. It's a nice trick to combine the question mark and the let function. Okay, let's move to another example. Now we have more complicated case. It's like two no checks. So first no check, second no check, and there is nothing like let function for 2, because then you could have 3 or some different combinations. So Kotlin cannot create functions for all of this. But it's really easy to create functions for these cases for you. So I will show you how to create a function which will work similarly like the let function. So let's first see how this function would look like. So would be, so the function will be called if both not now. It will have 2 parameters. And then these values will be called only when both are not now. So when both are not now, this will be called, and the text will be set here. And then I can remove this, and I can just use but this function doesn't exist. I have to create it. So let's create it. Android Studio can help me again. So this function should be used not just for Twitter and Medium, but in general. So I will just put it like first, second, and this parameter will be high order function. So that's a new thing in Kotlin, and when you compare to Java, high order functions, it means that functions can have parameters which are another functions. So it's quite hard to grasp, but I will show you the code how it really works. So I will call it both not now, and the type, it should have 2 parameters, string and string. And the syntax is unit. So this unit means that it will be high order function. So now it's no longer red, but it doesn't do anything. So we have to do the implementation. So inside the implementation, I will do the no check. So if both of these are not now, I will call the high order function. So I call the function, and that calls this lambda. So this lambda will be called only when both are not now. And you can create functions like this for your use case. Like everybody has different use case. Now I had like both not now, but you can have like 3 or some different combinations. You can create it yourself. Okay, another tip for handling knowability is I would like to simplify this method. Like there is no double exclamation mark, that's good, but it can be really nicely simplified in Kotlin way. So there is a thing called Elvis operator. And this Elvis operator is great when you are handling knowability and you have some default value, and this is exactly the case. Like if it's if this URL is null, I want to show the default value, which means push the button. And when it's not null, I want to show the GitHub URL. So I will show how it works. So this is the Elvis parameter, the question mark and the 2 dots. And behind that, I would write the default value. Now I can delete. So this code is identical to the previous code. It will do the no check, but it's just much nicer Kotlin syntax. Okay, we have some double exclamation marks left. Yeah, here. So this is the last double exclamation mark we need to get rid of. And I usually, when I'm getting rid of these double exclamation marks, I go in the order I showed you these features. But the last chance, sometimes you know that something will not be null. Like I know this URL is downloaded like right here before I use it. So like I know 100% that it won't be null. And but I cannot just remove it, it will give me error, like the same things, Marcus is impossible. So if it's null, it's actually some bug in the code and I want the app to crash it. But I want it to crash it nicer than no pointer exception. I want to crash it on my own terms. So for that there is a built-in function called check not null. It accepts some value and then you can add some nice message there. For example, this GitHub URL is empty. So if it's null, the app will crash, and I will have this nice crash which says like GitHub URL is empty. So, for example, in my crash reporting, I can see that this is exactly here, and I can know what's going on. It's much better than like general no pointer exception. Okay, so we got rid of all the double exclamation marks. Now I want to show you more nice Kotlin features. One of the best Kotlin feature is extension functions. So, for example, we can simplify this this visible. Like it's pain to write it all over again. The Android API is sometimes too verbose, and like this is kind of a boilerplate code. And what I would like to have in Android actually is like show method instead of this. And with Kotlin, you could do that because you can extend types you don't own. So it suggests me create extension function. Now it asks me if it's just for image view, but I know this this works for all the views, so I can say view. It's created this function, and now I will just implement it. So now, everywhere in the code, I can just, instead of setting the visibility to visible, I can just call method show. It will work. It's really nice. Okay, so we converted it to Kotlin. Let's just see if it still works. Let's run it. Yeah. works. Okay. So we still have some time, so I will show you more cool Kotlin features to get you motivated even more. There is a nice library from JetBrains, which is called panko, and it's specifically made for working with Android and Kotlin and make it nicer. So I'll just add dependency for this library. So this library is known for creating the layouts from Kotlin. Most people use it, I think, for this. But I want to show you some other features which are really handy from Anko library. I still use XML for creating the layouts. I think it's still better with like complicated layouts. But I still use Anko for other nice features. So, for example, you know, when you are logging in Android, you need to do like log.d, then you have to write the tag every time, and it's quite it's boilerplate. So Anko has this. If you implement this interface Anko logger, then you can log like this. Let's run this. Let's see logcat. Click the button. Yeah. You can see that it created the tag based on the name of the class, so you don't have to create the tags yourself. It's a nice thing if you use the Anko logger. Let's show some more Anko features. So, for example, building dialogues on Android is also quite verbose. And Anko is great for building dialogues. So it has this alert. This is the title of the alert. And now it supports positive button. Negative button. It will show here. So this will create dialogue with a title and two buttons. In nice Kotlin way, and I will show another feature, toast. So toast is just like so easy to do in Anko. Like this, this will show toast, much easier than normal Android API. And it also has support for some intents, some common intents. So for example, when I want to send email, there's a function for that. So email, my email, and subject. And this should launch via intent email app. So let's see if it works. show the dialog. If I press yes, it shows the toast. If I press no, it should launch the email app. Okay, so that's it from my examples. I also want to tell you about one more library, which is quite new. It's from Google. It's called Android KTX, and it has even more extension functions to Kotlin, which will help you work with some Android APIs. It's quite new. It's in development, but check it out. It will simplify your work with like databases, cursors. And many other things. So all my code is available here. You can do it. You can do the code lab later. And now I'm open to some questions. Yeah.
Hey, I was lost. What was the point of using the higher function? The if both not now. You could just return the result, right? Why were you using a higher function there?
Let's go for a second.
Showing that function as result.
So it needs to work with this lambda, and lambdas work with high order functions. I had it before, like without the functions, but then the nullability cannot be done. Now it works. Yeah. Another question?
When you use extend function, it's only extend function Kotlin is only applied in this activity or on app.
The extension function?
Yeah.
So. So you see, it's actually not in the activity, it's just in the file, because the activity ends here. So this function is available for all the other activities. But this is private, so I think to make it run everywhere, I would not make it private, like public. If there is nothing in front of fun, it means public in Kotlin. In Kotlin, everything is public by default. So now it will be available everywhere. What I usually do, I move these functions to a separate file called extensions, and then it's much more clear that this file is for everything. I wouldn't put it to activity. It's just for this demo. But you could also put it to activity. Like I could put it to the activity like this, and now it's available just for this activity. So you could do both.
You can explain import tab in this.
I don't understand.
You can explain import tabs in this case.
Import?
Can you explain import? I want to see import.
Show import.
Yeah.
So this Android synthetic thing, that's the Android extensions plugin.
We don't need the file view by ID.
Yeah, that's doing find view by ID for you. Which is very nice. Many Android libraries are trying to solve this problem.
Yeah.
Okay, another question.
So, what if the extension function name is a duplicate for the class name function itself? The extension function name. What if it duplicate with the class function itself? This this class already have the definition already, so it is override or something else. Because I mean, the view already have the function name show. So what will happen?
Yeah, you cannot use the same name. You have to use some different name. You will get error because it will be the same. Yeah. So last question probably. I'm out of time. Okay, no questions. So thank you for listening.